Hi, let's look at using a cash flow projection for assessing challenges with farm labor and assessing the opportunity to buy a new piece of equipment. Say you're having difficulty finding enough farm workers, or your labor costs are running higher than you really want. And so you've been thinking of ways you could address these labor issues, and you got your eye on a piece of labor saving machinery. So, what is possible? Well, you can use a cash flow projection to work out possible options. And here's an example of a cash flow projection from a wild blueberry farm, Bogus Blueberry Farm. It's a family operation with 80 acres in cultivation. This spreadsheet, which I built in Excel based on common generic templates that are out there, shows what the farm wants to budget for the coming year. And like any cash flow projection, it's built month by month. But to begin with now, let's just look at the totals for the year, which is column U. So, looks like going down through the cash flow projection, they're looking for $160,000 in revenues. And after they subtract their cost of goods sold, they'll have about $142,000. Now, scrolling down through all the expenses, I wanted to stop at the labor section and point out that their total labor is going to be around $58,000, which is kind of high. It's 36% of their revenues. It's not out of control, but a little higher than the average of what I've seen as a benchmark for Maine produce farms, which is like 31 to 34%. But with a short harvest season in July and August, they have a spike in their cash flow with a labor cost of about $48,000. So overall, I'd say it's not a huge problem, but I agree with them that their labor cost is big and worth thinking if anything could be done. And then we see finally their total expenses will be about $121,000. So, after subtracting all the expenses from the income and cost of goods sold, they'll have $20,000 as positive cash flow from their core farm operation. And then, below the green line, they currently are not a lot of other significant activities except their owner's draw. You'll see at the end of December, they'll pay themselves $22,000, which results in a net cash flow for the year of just $20. Basically, it's a break even budget. They started back on January 1st, way up here, their beginning cash of 4,500, and they're going to end the year down here at the end of December with $4,520. Now, I'm not saying this is good or bad. There's no judgment to be made at this point. This is just what they're planning based on what's worked for them. What I want to do now is use this tool for changing this picture to see if and how they might like it better. To do this, it's best to make a copy of the original cash flow projection and then play around in the copy, like I'm about to do, keeping the original unchanged. And I'm going to make live changes in this spreadsheet, which will instantly show new numbers at the bottom. And what we're going to do for Bogus Blueberry Farm is first plan for a new loan for purchasing a new harvester. I've put lines in red in the other financing and other expense sections to capture this. And the type of harvester they want costs $32,000. It's a mechanical harvester which allows one operator to harvest berries much faster, more efficiently than hand raking or other types of harvesting. So they get the loan in March here, and then they spend the money. They buy the harvester in April here. Now that's just money in and money out, but we then need to account for the loan expense. And let's say they're working with the Farm Service Agency and they negotiate a 7-year loan with pretty low interest and a once a year payment schedule, something that works really well for a seasonal single crop operation like a wild blueberry farm. And indeed, this is what I have with my FSA loan. So they determined they would have a $6,000 loan payment due in December. We put that in, then back down to the bottom, and notice how the net cash flow and the ending cash have now been affected, both going negative, which for the net cash flow may not necessarily be an issue. You can have a year where more money goes out than comes in, as long as you have enough in the bank to budget for that. But here, with the ending cash, you can't have that be negative. They started the year with $4,500 in the bank, and now they're trying to make a $6,000 loan payment, and we see that they can't make it. They won't be able to pay all their bills. But we're going to change the story a little more. Remember that this mechanical harvester offers some labor savings. So, up to the labor section. And here we can make changes, particularly in the 2 months during the harvest. They estimate that the new harvester will allow them to reduce their farm crew from 7 workers down to 6. Basically, the machine can replace one full time person during the harvest. And this means a 15% reduction in their labor budget from 7 employees down to 6. So we can change the $20,000 in both months to $17,000. That's 15% less. And then that also means their withholding tax can be reduced. That will go down to about $7,200. Note that their total labor line now has dropped down to about $51,000, a savings of around $7,000 from their original labor budget. And now, scrolling all the way back down to the bottom, we can see what the impact is. And, it looks pretty good. Actually, better than their original budget, which had $20 net cash flow and $4,520 ending cash. Their new scenario would mean a positive 1,220 net cash flow and an ending cash of 5,720. What I'm seeing is a picture of improvement that for Bogus Blueberry Farm, investing in this piece of equipment can not only help address labor challenges, but could also provide for a healthier cash flow. Now, of course, this is not always the case. Spreadsheets will never guarantee success, but this one shows an example of a certain investment opportunity that could alleviate some financial challenges. What I like about the cash flow projection is how it can be used to plan for resilience. It's this living, breathing tool. You can use it to assess your farm's financial health. Well, thanks for watching. This video is one in a series of farm financial topics that cover the chart of accounts, unit cost analysis, as well as cash flow projection spreadsheets. I hope you'll look them all up. Check the links below for more information.